Okay, welcome to another edition of The Right Call. And now that football season has sadly come to a screeching halt, we've got some other Cole, this is like our first smorgasbord right call.
It is. I mean, football's over. Not much to do now, but I'm ready to win fantasy football next season. I'm ready to go.
All right, Cole, quick closure on the Super Bowl. 2 questions to answer, and then we're going to move on. First, can the Rams repeat? I mean, are they a good enough team where they can repeat next year?
Absolutely. I mean, they have Matthew Stafford, who's arguably a top 7 QB in the league. I mean, he's just so talented, and he was on those terrible Detroit Lions teams for so many years. But you got to be a pretty good quarterback to lead two of the biggest receiving years of all time. Cooper Kupp and Calvin Johnson, 2 ridiculously good wide receivers. Plus you have Odell Beckham, who's going to
dead.
He's not.
He's dead.
Dead. He's a top 15 receiver.
He's dead. He's tore his ACL again. Same knee. He may not even be back next season. At best, he comes back for the second half.
Okay. Odell Beckham is a stud wide receiver in the NFL, and I've been saying it for a long time.
We're not going to spend a lot of time on this.
So
the Rams are going to repeat.
Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Taylor Rapp. You have so many great defensive players. Rams can and most likely will repeat.
Okay, so Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Von Miller just got very angry that Taylor Rapp was mentioned in the same sentence as them.
Okay, Taylor Rapp's a monster.
First of all, Pat Rapp, I would mention, former Red Sox pitcher, before I'd mention Taylor Rapp. But with that said, I don't think the Rams can repeat. I think they capitalized on a very weak NFL season.
I forgot about Robert Woods.
No team really stood out this season and was dominant. I give the Rams credit for winning the game. Cole, I can honestly tell you that watching Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp perform in the Super Bowl, it just reminded me how rare it is that a player other than a quarterback can win a game for you. And Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald single-handedly won that game for the Rams. Matthew Stafford was okay. He threw a couple of picks. I mean, he was decent, but it was sick, the level Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald played at this season. Okay, other quick question. The Bengals. Will the Bengals be back?
I don't think so. I mean, there's too many teams in the AFC that can beat them. The Chiefs, now the Bucks are irrelevant now that Brady's retired, but if the Chiefs, you have the Bills. Who else am I forgetting?
Well, you're looking at the stud quarterbacks, right? The Bills, the Chiefs, the Chargers.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of, and that's, again, we talked about this on our previous podcast. Who's to say if Russell Wilson comes to the AFC and that could change? So yeah.
I don't see them repeating, unfortunately, but I think give Joe Burrow a few years to improve and become a real stud, amazing quarterback in the NFL. Then we can talk about them being a real contender for years to come.
All right, and final thought, we talk about poor announcers on this podcast a lot. Cris Collinsworth is so annoying to listen to. First, he never shuts up. And then second, at the end of the game, when Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp single-handedly got them that drive. And then Cris Collinsworth comes out, this is the single most clutch drive in Super Bowl history. Okay, Mr. Recency Bias. I don't know, maybe when the Patriots were down 28-3, there was some more significant clutch drives in that Super Bowl. Maybe the Joe Montana drive against the Bengals. I mean, come on. Stop with the recency bias.
I mean, it
was a clutch drive.
I wouldn't say it's the most clutch of all time because it's not. But it's up there. I mean, it was a drive to win a Super Bowl as a team that wasn't supposed to win a Super Bowl.
Why can't we, when my brother Wayne and I were at the retirement for Paul Pierce, we had a chance, we were very fortunate to talk to Ernie Johnson, one of the most class guys in the history of broadcasting. And we were talking to him, and he came, why do we have to compare all the time? That's a sports radio thing to compare. Let Michael Felger and Tony Maserati aggravate people intentionally by comparing all the time. It was a great drive. It was a clutch drive. Let's leave it at that.
Exactly.
We don't need to put it on some kind of pedestal. It was a good drive, and kudos to the Rams and Sean McVay for winning the Super Bowl. Cole, let's move on to the absolute fallen nature of the NBA three-point contest. Now, I was just going to say, you and I were both so fired up that Karl Anthony Towns won, but I got to tell you, it's not the same. I don't know. It's a bunch of no-names in that contest. Besides Trae Young and Karl Anthony Towns, Luke Kennard, Desmond Bane, Patty Mills. Am I tuning in to see those guys?
I mean, the thing is with the 3-point contest is that I feel like it's just wanting to watch a ton of guys, and like you say, it's like having name brand things. It's like owning name brand things, and some name brand things, like Pure. Is there really that big of a difference between Purell hand sanitizer and Stop and Shop brand hand sanitizer?
No, but your point is?
My point is that although we may rather see the Trae Youngs and the Steph Currys, I'm not Steph Curry because he's
Steph Curry.
Well, no, not Steph Curry because he's above and beyond, but Trae Young and all the other popular great 3-point shooters in the NBA and guys like Luke Kennard and Patty Mills who have just as good percentages but just aren't as popular, perform. Like you're seeing, it's not about the names, it's about the talent, and that's who deserves to be in the 3-point contest.
Well, you know who needs to be in the 3-point contest? Bones Highland.
Okay, no.
What a great name on the Nuggets. That good of a Bones
name.
Highland.
It's not even his real name.
Come on, if you were named Bones,
it's like it's Deshaun Highland or something.
Oh, don't take away.
No,
Let's go with Bones.
It's Rashawn Highland.
Okay, listen. Here's the thing about
fake name.
Now you make a good point. I'll give you that. All I'm saying is when the 3-point contest came to be, Larry Bird won the first 3 years. Then Dale Ellis won. Then Craig Hodges won for 3 years. It just felt like it was more of a name thing. And so for me personally, I don't know. I'm not going to tune in to see guys I don't know. It doesn't excite me. With that said, you raised a question, Cole, when we were watching this, and I think it's worth spending a minute on. If the Celtics had the opportunity to get Karl Anthony Towns for Jason Tatum, would you rather have Karl Anthony Towns or Jason Tatum? It was an interesting question you brought up.
So let's break it down. So Towns drafted in 2014, so he is 25, 26, 27 years old. I don't know. And Tatum's 23, 24. So very minor age difference. In my opinion, you look at all the best players in the NBA. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Giannis, and Karl Anthony Towns. Probably 4 best.
Is Karl Anthony Towns, you think, the 4th best?
No, I put him up in the, but I think the clear-cut best 3 are Jokic, Embiid, and
Jokic,
Embiid, and Giannis.
Yeah.
So
Giannis isn't really a center, but it doesn't matter.
But
You're not making that point. Okay, fine.
Man.
Okay.
So the 3 best players in the NBA are big men. It's clear how valuable big men are in the NBA today because it's so non-physical. Like, you need someone that's willing to provide that physicality and rebounding.
Yeah, except it's a great point you're making, except with Karl Anthony Towns shooting on the outside so much, I don't know if he's as physical as he used to be. He's on the outside a lot. He's not playing in the interior as much.
He averages 12 rebounds a game. I mean,
I don't know if he's physical.
Well, give me one team that's great in the NBA that doesn't have a great center besides the Warriors.
Well, the Suns.
DeAndre Ayton.
He's not great.
He is
DeAndre Ayton's more of like a forward center. He's kind of like a hybrid.
He's averaging like 17 and 12 too.
The Bulls.
Vucevic.
He's not a great center. He's good.
Oh my God,
right.
He's great.
So wait a second.
Vucevic.
So your point is a fair one, and I will say this: Karl Anthony Towns is a very rare player. He's actually right out of that Jokic mode. He's not as good as Jokic, but he's kind of like a Jokic light in terms of the way he plays. And let's not forget, the one thing about Karl Anthony Towns compared to the other names you said is he's been around crap talent his whole career.
Yeah, he has.
He hasn't had a chance to play with, forget about a number 2. He hasn't even had a chance to play with a number 3, I would say, arguably. Now, Anthony Edwards may be that guy.
Oh, he's absolutely that
right?
guy, yeah.
But up until that, he hadn't. So who knows? If you put some talent around him, who knows what he could do?
I don't know. He's played with some pretty good players. I mean, he played with prime D'Lo. He played with prime
Derek Lowe, the former Red Sox pitcher.
Unfortunately, not.
You're not calling D'Angelo Russell a prime like number 2 or number 3, are you? He's a good scorer on a bad team is all he is.
Oh, my, what?
Yeah, come on. Okay, we're not wasting any time talking about
Are
D'Angelo
you nuts?
Russell. Okay,
after
we're
this
going to get tuned out if we talk about D'Angelo Russell.
We're looking at his statistics because that is buffoonery.
All right, so let's transition. One last thing about the NBA All-Star festivities. Let's transition to the 3-point or the slam dunk contest. So we've got Obi Toppin, Juan Toscano-Anderson. We've got Jalen Green and Cole Anthony. like, I'm watching the judges, and first of all, the fact that Isaiah Thomas was a judge on that panel is an absolute disgrace. I'm surprised he's not making out with everybody on the panel like he used to do with Magic. But that aside, I mean, you see the human highlight film there. You see the glide there. Like, the winners of the slam dunk, like Spud Webb and Jordan and Dominique and all these guys, come on. And by the way, Jalen Green, I think he's still trying to attempt that dunk.
So
come on.
The reason a lot of players don't, there's two reasons. One, because they think they're too cool and they just want to watch and take pictures on the side.
Agreed.
Second, they don't want to get hurt because trying to attempt a super difficult dunk, you can fall weirdly on your knee, you can fall, like you trip, you can hang on the rim and you can lose balance. So there's a lot of risks in doing the dunk contest, so they're obviously worried. But I mean, Cole Anthony I'd tune in for because he is the greatest name in the world. But
he's like 3 feet tall.
Okay, but he still dunks.
Oh, God. Like, and the other thing is, I don't get the pictures. Like, Giannis is snapping pictures on the... Giannis, you can watch it on TV. If you DVR it, you could actually see. You don't need to take pictures. And
that was the most old person thing I've ever heard you say.
Okay.
DVR? Are you kidding me?
Okay, but wait a second. Are you gonna if you were there and you were taking a picture in the crowd, when's the next time you think you'd watch that? You'd show it to someone like when the next week when you got back from the All-Star, and you'd never look at it again.
The next time I'd probably look at it is I'm like cleaning out my camera.
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Exactly. So can we get some real players in the slam dunk? I agree, but I'm not. And by the way, Obi Toppin, great pick by the Knicks. That's the first time I've heard his name since they drafted him. They should have taken Tyrese Halliburton. They blew the pick, just like they seem to blow every pick since the NBA fixed it so they got Patrick Ewing back in 1984.
What do you mean they fixed it?
Oh, that's when the lottery system changed because everybody felt since the NBA's in New York and they fixed it because the Knicks are such a flagship franchise for the NBA. So Patrick Ewing was the prize in that year, and the Knicks just happened to get the first-round pick because they were a fledgling franchise, and the NBA wanted to lift them up again. So everybody felt like that was fixed when the Knicks got Patrick Ewing.
I mean, that makes sense.
So, all right. So let's finish today by talking about baseball. I mean, Cole, what a disgrace.
I have lost so much respect for Major League
Why did you even have any in the first place?
Because, I mean, there's so many great talents in the league. I mean, I love Devers. I love Verdugo. I love all those guys. I love Judge. But,
So, Cole, you know what we're going to do?
I'm befuddled.
You know what we're going to do for our listeners? Here's what we're going to do for our listeners. We have come up with a list of the 5 things we're going to miss most in this baseball season. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, the first one is all the pitching changes. Now, I don't know about you, but there's nothing more enjoyable than seeing 6 pitching changes over the course of a game. So, you know, when I know they got to face 3 batters now, so they tried to fix the rules a little bit. But aren't you going to miss all the pitching changes mid-game?
I am. I felt like it was really a great part of the game when it's interrupted and we had to sit there for 5 minutes waiting. But I got to eat some Cracker Jacks. I got to get a Fenway Frank.
Listen, honestly, with everybody's here's the big question, right? With everybody's attention span gone these days, no one has an attention span anymore. Heck, I can't even watch a Celtic Bruin game without fast forwarding through it, you know, to get to out of the commercials and stuff like this. Who in their right mind is going to sit and watch a baseball game for 3.5 hours continuously? And by the way, let me just make this one point. There is an app, Cole, where you can watch a baseball game without the stoppages, and the average baseball game with no stoppages takes 9 minutes to watch. 9 minutes of action in 3.5 hours. So
that's ridiculous.
So, like, who does that? And in your age, in your generation, do you know one friend of yours that would forget about watch every day, that would watch one 3.5 hour baseball game? Do you know any of kids
going to the game or on TV?
No, on TV.
No,
nobody.
No one.
Nobody.
No one.
So if your generation is the next legion of baseball fans, forget the strike, forget everything else. Like, what would make people start watching the game again?
I seriously don't know. But the thing is, I don't want them to change it. Like, I feel like baseball is baseball. You don't start changing the rules and stuff for fans that are going to whine about how long the game takes. Like, whatever. Like,
yeah, but you know what? You say that, but all the sports have changed their rules in some way. You know, you look at football, you can't contact anybody the same way you used to, so the quarterbacks are protected, and there's more offense in the game. You look at hockey, they made the goalies lower the size of their equipment so more goals would be scored. I mean, all the leagues are evolving. I don't agree with it. I'm with you. Like, I don't like it. I like the traditional side, but they're all doing it.
Okay, then puff up the balls. Like, that sounded bad, but
Yeah, we don't want to, we're not, I don't know where that came from.
I don't know.
Are we doing ball puffing?
I don't think we are.
I don't think so.
Not today. So I think they do something to the baseballs. They do something so more home runs are hit, more runs are scored, and that will bring fans in. I will watch a 9-inning game for 4 hours if the score's 12 to 10 or something like that.
Would you?
I would.
Really?
I would. If home runs were being hit left and right, I would.
So you like the juiced ball and you like that piece?
I do.
Really? So here's what else we're going to miss, and I want to know if you're okay with this. We're going to miss the Pirates mortgaging off their season like they always do. Like, they have no talent. They always end up trading. For some reason, the Yankees, it seems, they always give their good players to the Yankees when they don't have a chance to compete. So I guess that's going to hurt, watching teams like the Pirates and Royals do absolutely nothing and end up mortgaging off their teams again.
I'm so devastated. I mean, the Royals, I have the worst stadium I've ever seen.
What do you mean? The waterfalls.
It's awful.
The waterfalls are beautiful in Kansas City. You got to love that.
No, there's a huge Jumbotron that's like 4 feet wide and 90 feet long.
Wow.
It's horrible. It's ugly. It's an ugly stadium.
Do you think with the state of the Royals, you ragging on their stadium is like, I feel like it's piling on a little bit.
Well, maybe it is, but the Royals should go back to the days they had Alex Gordon, and who else did they have? They had Eric Hosmer,
Wow,
and Mike Moustakas, and guys like that.
And George Brett,
and George. No, in the days they won the 2 World
Mark
Series.
Gubicza.
Who is Mark Gubicza? Oh,
Brett Saberhagen.
Billy Butler.
Wow,
That's a throwback.
The overweight DH.
Yeah, he was good though.
Yeah, I guess
He hit like 30 home runs one year.
All right. Last thing on this is, let's talk about the Yankees and Red Sox. Final thought as we head into baseball season. Neither team has kind of finished their free agency piece because with the strike, the moves kind of froze. So there's still going to be a lot of moves that probably come out of the strike when it ever ends. The Yankees have Luis Severino back healthy. They pretty much have a similar team to what they had last year, but their pitching staff is a little more healthy than it was last year. Are the Yankees the team to beat in the AL East, or is it still Tampa for that matter?
It's really
or Toronto, even with all their young players.
No, Toronto sucks.
Wow.
Actually, no.
Yeah, Toronto.
That's not a fair statement.
They may not have enough pitching still, but
yeah, they don't. But the thing with me is they lost Marcus Semien, Toronto.
That's a big loss, but they still have a ton of offense.
I mean, they still have Vlad, and they still have Bo Bichette.
Yep.
And so, the Yankees just can't get it done. They really can't get it done. They lost in the wild card last year. They lost in the ALCS 2 years ago. Can they get it done this year? Maybe. I mean, they have Severino back. They have Gary Sanchez back.
Is Gary Sanchez a good thing? Because he's hitting like 140.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him, but he was so good. He was so good.
He can't catch.
No, he's a terrible.
He can't catch. He's a low average home run hitter, and there's low average home run hitters are everywhere you look now. Hunter Renfroe. That's why the Red Sox gave up Hunter Renfroe so freely, because those kind of guys are so easy to come by now.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the Rays. I'd rather be the Red Sox than the Yankees this year. Honestly, tell me I'm crazy.
You're crazy.
The Red Sox are the team to beat in the AL East this year.
I don't know if it's crazy. I just think the division is probably the hardest in baseball right now. The AL East with the Blue Jays coming on, the Rays always being good. I don't know. I think it's too early to tell. I think the Yankees, as usual, have the most talent on paper. It's just a question of whether they live up to it. And Cole, I just want to end this edition of The Right Call with one final thought.
162-0.
I was reading the Globe this morning, and Jackie Bradley Jr. was being interviewed. And Jackie Bradley Jr., who is so upset they brought him back because he's so horrible.
He's such a good fielder.
Great. So there's good defensive outfielders everywhere that can't hit, whatever. So this is, I want to quote something, okay? Jackie Bradley Jr. was asked, are you good to be are you happy to be back with the Red Sox? And he said, quote unquote, I'm looking forward to getting above the Mendoza line this year.
What's Mendoza?
So the Mendoza line, for our listeners who are not aware, is there used to be a hitter 30, 40 years ago named Mario Mendoza who hit 200. And so now when you're a really, really bad hitter, 200 is the line for patheticness. So that's what they call batting 200, the Mendoza line. Jackie Bradley hit 161 last year. His goal is to exceed 200. Oh my God. Low standards much?
I mean, would you be upset if he, let's say, bats 230, hits 15 homers, hits...
I'd be ecstatic if he hit 230.
He
He struggled to hit 230 when he was here prior to being horrible.
That is not true.
It is. He hit 230, 240 every year, barely.
That is not true.
And
We
this
are
is-
looking into stats as well.
And this is what Jackie Bradley Jr. would do. He would go like 10 for 80, and then he would go on a stretch where he'd go like 10 for 20,
Yeah.
and then he'd go 10 for 80 again. Come on. Come on. There's no room for Jackie Bradley Jr.
A lot of room. I mean, the thing is with Jackie Bradley, I mean, you have Verdugo at center field. Where are you going to put him? Where are you going to put Jackie Bradley? Right field?
Well, that's the thing. They do have a little bit of a glut of outfilders.
Actually, no.
And they
Verdugo's-
might sign. They might sign that Japanese outfielder that's like a hot commodity. Chinese? Chinese, the Japan outfielder? I don't know. It doesn't even make sense. All right. Anyways. All right. What's your last thought for the right call today?
I'm praying to God that the MLB next time on this podcast has a deal done with the MLB and the MLBPA, because I want to watch baseball again. I want to go to spring training games, and I'm ready for the MLB to be back. What about you?
Yeah, my final call is I hope Major League Baseball doesn't start until like August, because I don't really care until then. And so just play enough games where the playoffs matter, and then I'll start being interested, because baseball has become an enormous bore.
You're an enormous bore.
Bore.
You're a bore.
All right, for the right call, Cole Altman and Mark Altman. We'll see you next time.